And joining us now is Adrian Fontes, Arizona's Secretary of State, who was a Maricopa County recorder back in 2020. Adrian, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us, Secretary. You ended up testifying in front of Congress about what happened that night. Why has Maricopa County become ground zero for this type of misinformation?
Well, first, thanks for having me. And second, I can't tell you exactly what is in the mind of every person here in Maricopa County. But what I can tell you is that the facts speak louder than the fiction. Ever since that time, and for many years before and even since, Maricopa County has continued to deliver solid, secure, safe, and accessible elections for all of its voters, in spite of the lies, in spite of the threats and the conspiracy theories. And I remember vividly those evenings. It wasn't just one night, it was several nights of that in a row, with all those folks right outside yelling my name, yelling the names of others, including that guy you saw out there, Mr. Chansley, who has already spent time in prison for his activities on January 6th. Alex Jones was out there, among others. And, you know, the bottom line is this. As long as your protest is peaceful, you go ahead and give it. But when it starts turning into threats of violence and other sorts of things, that needs to be limited. We do a great job running elections in Arizona, and I think we're going to continue to do that in spite of all this nonsense.
And Secretary, we saw some long lines at early voting sites across Arizona. I'm sure you've seen online the growing outcry of even the possibility that it might take up to 13 days for final tallies. Why does it take so long to count the votes there?
Well, we've got one of the most secure ways for our ballot-by-mail ballots to be processed. As a matter of fact, just the processing of one tray of 200 ballots takes about an hour for our bipartisan teams to run through, to audit, to make sure that what had previously already gone through signature verification process gets pulled out of the envelope properly so that it gets moved to tabulation. This is a very, very thorough set of processing that we go through. And I would say that it's probably more thorough than just about any other state in the nation, although there are plenty of safeguards across the country. It takes a while because we're very careful with how we handle our ballots. And that has borne itself true in any analysis of our elections. Every time you ask someone who bothers to look at the facts about Arizona's elections, they say we do a really darn good job. As a matter of fact, the 2020 election, from that footage that you were showing earlier, was administered by me. That was my warehouse at the time. I was the Maricopa County recorder. And I'm very proud of my team. The 2020 election is the single most highly scrutinized election in global history, and we passed every real test with flying colors. So it may take us a while. We may not satisfy the immediate gratification needs of some folks in your neck of the woods, but we get it right, and we're proud of the work we do.
I think the key phrase there was for those that bothered to look at the facts. Just watching those poll workers working and being there in 2020, a lot of what you're talking about is bipartisan, Republican and Democrat sitting there deciding whether or not those signatures are valid with a consensus there. So it is a very nuanced situation. Look, today I know was another day that almost adds fuel to the fire of confusion, but can you walk us through the latest with this legal fight over this list of some 200,000 Arizonans and this glitch in the state driver's license database? And really, before we get into it, like, take us all the way back. Set the context for us, because it is important. Starting with Arizona, you guys are the only state that requires proof of citizenship to vote in local and state races, right? So what happened?
Well, so as you just mentioned, in every state in the union, including Arizona, every voter has to sign an affidavit at the bottom of a registration form or when they're getting their driver's license that says that under penalty of perjury, they're swearing that they are a U.S. citizen, they're over 18, and et cetera. Well, in Arizona, we have an added burden that the law has imposed onto our voters. To vote in state and local races, our voters have to then submit documented proof of citizenship, DPOC. That's a birth certificate, a passport, a naturalization certificate, something to prove citizenship to vote in every other race outside of those three federal races, president, Senate, and Congress. So we have a bifurcated balloting system. You can get a full state ballot or just a Fed-only ballot. And this has been the law since 2004. And even before, we've had some other distinguishers in the motor vehicle division database. Now, what we have come to discover that for the last 20 years, our motor vehicle division has been violating the law, or at least it looks like that. And they've been telling us in the voter world that certain people have proven citizenship when they have not, or we can't tell if they have 100%. We took this case to the state Supreme Court. They said that we're going to let all these folks do what they've been doing for decades, vote the full ballot, and we'll sort this thing out after the 2024 election. But unfortunately, this bit of poor planning in the past, underfunding of state agencies throughout a long period of time, and just some mismanagement has gotten us to the point where these unfounded rumors of non-citizen voting has just added a lot of fuel onto that fire. So we're dealing with it. We're confident we're going to have a good election, even with all these conspiracies and lies floating around.
And as I understand it, this list of 200 or so, 200,000 voters, this list is now being turned over to a partisan group. Your office was hoping to stop that and maybe do it after the election. That does not seem to be the case. But can you tell us why you were hoping to not give this list over to this partisan group?
Yeah, well, they're not really a partisan group. They're a group of people that want to intimidate voters and threaten them. These are folks who I don't want them knocking on the doors of these registered voters and demanding their proof of citizenship and all this stuff based on these rumors and these lies that these folks might not be eligible to vote. So first and foremost, we're not 100% sure that anyone on this list still needs to provide that documentation. It's just a problem with the data. Second, I'm worried about the safety of my voters, and I'm going to protect them as much as possible. While I am a deeply dedicated public servant when it comes to transparency and getting that public information out there, when you've narrowly defined a group of people like this, they can easily be targeted with their release of their names and their personal identifying information. I wanted to prevent that, and I'm joined by several former law enforcement officers and many other folks who have seen this kind of activity in the past. So unfortunately, the court didn't agree. The appellate court shot down our appeal, and so we had turned those names over reluctantly today. But I'm going to continue to fight to keep all of my voters safe, including all of our election workers and folks, because this is supposed to be a civil exercise outside of violence or the threat of violence. And unfortunately, there's some people out there who just do not believe in American democracy, and some of them get into the realm of domestic terrorism when they actually threaten violence or commit acts of violence against folks for their political ends. We need to stop that. We need to make sure that we're protecting our voters. And I hope that some folks will come to their senses and not reveal any of these names to those folks who might do this kind of thing.
A civil exercise. Hopefully it's peaceful there in Arizona tomorrow. Adrian Fontes, Arizona Secretary of State, thanks so much for your time tonight.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.